It is just not good for Disney Star Wars. Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker drops a 58%. 58%. It's nowhere near the 71% it was last weekend, but the 70% was on the second. And it's still a 58% drop from last weekend. So, when we get Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker's box office numbers, these numbers are just not as good as Disney is making them out to be, because these numbers are absolutely terrible. They are. Of course, Frozen 2 is also going to pass $450 million. Do not know how that's 450. Why it's passing $450 million. I thought this movie would be dead already because this movie is dead. Frozen 2 did get saved by the holidays, kind of like Knives Out as well. So, well, the main topic would be Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Out of all the movies, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, the only movie that has dropped more is Black Christmas, which is a woke, crappy feminist movie that no one cares about. And the only movie that has dropped is just as much as Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, with the exception of Black Christmas, is Cats, another movie that no one cares about. It seems that Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker is not doing as well as Disney makes it out to be. This movie still has a chance of not passing $1 billion. Which you may say that's not that that's heinous words, but think about it. It's gonna pass. It might pass. It might not. If it passes 900 million, it's gonna pass $1 billion. That's for sure. But if the way it's passed here is not gonna be that terrible, okay? It needs to pass $500 million domestically to pass $1 billion worldwide, because the international and domestic box office are practically the same at this point. And the fact that this is the end of the Skywalker saga, and it's doing absolutely abysmally. It's doing absolutely abysmally today. It's doing absolutely abysmally at all. It's it's now like 40 million behind the Last Jedi. Last Jedi passed like so it's almost near $500 million. It's now 50 million behind, and it's now Rogue One is now catching up to the rise of Skywalker. The Disney logo Star Wars that no one cares about. If it's just Rogue One for facing, the rise of Skywalker actually do worse than Rogue One if it continues going down this path adjusted for facing. The fact that it's doing that badly, the fact that a Star Wars movie is doing that abysmally at the box office, the fact that this movie is doing that poorly at the box office, the fact that this movie is probably gonna drop to like 14 to 10 million to 12 million next week, which is pretty bad for Star Wars as a whole of a franchise. The fact that Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker is doing that bad compared to The Last Jedi, it's doing that poorly compared to The Last Jedi. Okay, here we have The Phantom Menace adjusting for facing. Yes, everybody's favorite Star Wars movie, The Phantom Menace. If you adjust The Phantom Menace for inflation, The Phantom Menace is also could be ahead of The Rise of Skywalker. Everybody's favorite Star Wars movie still outsold The Last Jedi. And it really isn't anymore because The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker and so Star Wars exist, but you can clearly tell that this new Star Wars is not liked on by everyone. Nobody likes Disney Star Wars. And this is just proving how awful Disney Star Wars has been doing, how poorly Disney Star Wars has been doing. The fact that it can't pass the Phantom Menace adjust or and still not have the Phantom Menace like the Last Jedi was, but the Phantom Menace had pretty good ratings considering how bad the movie was, for a Star Wars movie. It still wasn't a bad movie, but it's still bad compared to the original trilogy. You can clearly tell that the Phantom Menace eventually by its second half of the month eventually did pass the Last Jedi. But what's an unadjusted for facing? Because the Phantom Menace came out in the 90s, you can clearly see that it's still behind the Phantom Menace's domestically. It is still behind the Phantom Menace's final domestic total. And that is the sad right there. The fact that Star Wars is doing that poorly, the fact that Star Wars is doing that miserably, is proof. Is proof that Disney does not know what to do in the Star Wars. The fact that not even the worst star of the original trilogy, the the Return of the Jedi, the lowest grossing, adjusted for inflation, of course. because of course we have to adjust it for inflation. The fact that it can't pass The Return of the Jedi. The fact that it can't pass this movie is just absolutely just laughable at most. Because of course he adjusted for inflation. Return of the Jedi is the fact that it's doing worse than Return of the Jedi. It's doing worse than Return of the Jedi. Okay? Which, of course, he does it for inflation. It did because it did work better than the last Jedi actually. So Return of the Jedi, the world's goes to the original trilogy, it does it for inflation, and Episode 1 are destroying Disney Star Wars. Are destroying Disney Star Wars. They are, okay? Destroying, utterly destroying Disney Star Wars. So a Star Wars story compared to the original trilogy. Don't make me laugh. So a Star Wars story made no money. It made no money. So that's basically it. Goodbye. And Solo did flop.